Hi, we're with the Journey to the Parliament, number 14, and we're so happy today to have Yvonne Conway Williams, also known as Mistress Prime, out in our fair land of Orange County, California. And everybody is kind of always excited, and we always think of it as a very spiritual place. And she's done a lot of great work. Recently, she just celebrated her 20th anniversary doing meetups and other types of activity and work on it. And she's been a member who's gone to the Parliament. And when did you start going to the Parliament? Well, how did you get started with that?
My very first Parliament was at Salt Lake City. What was that, 2015?
15.
Yeah. I went because, well, I found out about it. Not really sure if it was through you guys or through Covenant of the Goddess, but I was the incoming national first officer, which basically the president of the organization, and I was sent on behalf of the organization to represent us, and it was amazing. It was really kind of life-altering experience, so I'm really glad I went.
Covenant of the Goddess has been involved since 1993 in various forms. But you then went in 2015 as the national officer. That's very impressive. I did not actually know that.
Yeah, I was both the national first officer and the Orange County local council first officer simultaneously. Well, it was incoming because I think our transition for the national board is the 31st of October to the 1st of November. And I don't remember what dates we were there in Salt Lake, but it was like a transition. I'm really close. So, but they thought, hey, you should go and go represent us. And there were a number of members that were actually there putting things together. So it was just nice to experience it with people I was familiar with, make new friends, and overall experience this tremendous event that honestly I think everybody should go.
So you mentioned tremendous impact. Can you talk us a little bit about the impact that event had on you?
I genuinely wasn't certain what to expect, and I knew that it would be an interfaith sort of event, but most of the interfaith events I've been to, most of them, but not all, that are local have been less than welcoming to pagans. They're more interested in intra-faith, which is usually things within the Christian faith, and maybe they'll include some folks that are Muslim or Jewish, but they weren't usually open to including people outside of those realms. So it was a very wonderful experience to be welcomed by so many different people from so many different countries and spiritual perspectives. So that was one thing. The enormous amount of people that were there was the other thing. Was it 10,000 or something?
Just short of that.
Yeah, and seeing all the different, just everybody was enthusiastic and welcoming and warm and curious and, generous in spirit. And the thing that I enjoyed, I think, the most was Langar with the Sikhs. It was enlightening. It was educational. It was camaraderie. There were so many wonderful things about it. But the fact that they did that every single day of the week for everybody that wanted to participate was amazing. And just getting to meet more people that, might not have had a chance to interact with other pagans and witches and stuff.
So for those who don't know, Langar is the sacred meal of the day for the Sikhs, and this is part of their religious duties to provide meals to the hungry. And they did that at the parliaments, and they will do it at the next parliament as well. I found out that.
I think that the last group was different than the group in Canada was different from the group that came to Salt Lake.
So yes, that is because they brought in the local Sikhs. Each one brings in the local Sikhs and brings in a lot of integration into that sort of thing.
I think the one in Salt Lake, they were from the UK.
Were they? It was interesting.
So.
They had some. It is an interesting process. So if you get to see that, that's something you should see. It's quite a unique event.
Absolutely.
And you also went to 2018 Toronto.
Yeah.
And can you talk about that adventure? Because that was a little bit more a field for you.
That well, first off, getting into Canada was a nice change of pace because I haven't been over there in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Rooming with most of you from the Corellians, or like a big chunk of you from the Corellians, was also
Mm-hmm.
really cool. I had it Salt Lake, but you know, it was different. This one was in one house, and then just getting the chance, the pagan the pagan representation was much larger. So I
Mm-hmm.
did like that. Doing the different events, gatherings, social interactions, the chance to again meet people. Oh, that was the other thing. At Salt Lake, I met this woman at, there was like this place where they were recording people's stories.
Mm-hmm.
And I was sitting there waiting, and there was a woman wearing a collar, like a priest collar, and we were talking, and it turned out, of all things, that she was in charge. She was a pastor at a Presbyterian church near me, but we had never met before. But here we were, all the way in Salt Lake City at this great event, and
Mm-hmm.
we ended up meeting at this event, and we formed this really good bond. And we met outside. I actually went to one of her um, Sunday services and spent some time hanging out with them. But we talked pretty regularly, and then we met up again in Ontario. And I think it's just funny because she doesn't live that far, but yet we keep running into each other in completely different areas outside the state. So the experience in Canada, I made more friends, even more friends. But I did spend a little more time with the pagan segment of the folks that were there than I had the previous time. Social interactions for dinners and gatherings. I spent most of the time with the Corellian group, but mostly because you guys are just too fun. There was no reason to not hang out with you. And
Very kind to
uh,
say.
but there was a walk that I remember going back and forth through the conference. There was I did attend a death cafe in
Mm-hmm.
Ontario. That was interesting and unique, and something I was considering bringing out here, but it was on a long list of things I already do, so I kind of had to put it on the back burner.
Well, you are a busy person.
Um, yeah, it's almost like I don't know how to not be busy. So,
we we all understand that. So is there any one memory that you kind of retain from it that made a difference in your life?
oh gosh, Parliament has been so many wonderful memories
Mm-hmm.
in both of them, and they were each very unique in their own way. Um, Within Parliament itself, I think some of the um, keynote speakers have been very enlightening and enjoyable.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so those have been some of my favorites. But the closing ceremony in Salt Lake was also very moving.
That's terrific. So now we're heading into, let's talk about the next one coming up, August 14th through the 18th, Chicago, Illinois, the 9th convening of the Parliament of World Religions. I have been a very fortunate individual that I've been able to attend them, and you have attended several, and you're attending this one. I do know that is something that you're going to do. Can you tell me a little bit about what you're expecting? I do know their theme this year is defending freedom and human rights. Call to compassion.
Ooh, I'm just looking forward to seeing what the schedule is going to be like.
Mm-hmm.
The I'm interested in just seeing new perspectives on things.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I really, I really want to make an effort to connect more with just different viewpoints and
Mm-hmm.
try to see where other people are coming from and see what I can learn from that and bring back with me and perhaps integrate into my daily life in some way.
That's good. That's terrific. And the fact that it's in Chicago this year makes it a little easier for some people to attend. It is the center of the country. And so that we're kind of grateful for that. So when you're defending freedom and human rights, what does that mean to you? Do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, I do. And I do kind of feel like there's an unnecessary chaos around that. And I feel like more people need to recognize where things are being hamstrung with regards to freedoms and our rights that are being either stymied or removed. Things like Roe v. Wade. It was something that should have been ratified. It's something that should have been made official. And now that it's been taken away from us, most states, in California, we're very fortunate, but it's something that is nobody else's business but the person that has to go through with it to make that choice, them and their doctor. It's not something that I feel like the states should be able to take away. Also, with regards to the American Indian Child Act, that's another thing where they need to protect the rights of Native Americans to, if a child is to be put up for adoption, that the tribe should be able to have basically first dibs. But instead of being adopted out, that's a whole other ball of wax for me with regards to adoption. But I feel like people need to be aware of the things that are being slowly eroded and to maybe help solidify or shore things up or protect our freedoms that we are slowly losing.
And I think the Parliament is a good place to make the right networks and connections for that.
Yes, definitely.
Absolutely. So any last thoughts before we go about the Parliament, anything about this that you have?
I am really looking forward to seeing everybody again and just spending the week out there and networking. And I can't wait. It's going to be exciting.
And we're going to be excited to see you. And so if you want to find out more, go to the Parliament of World's Religions. You can find it online and find out everything about it. And thank you. We've been talking to, I guess, Elder High Priestess is one of the titles you have. Yes. So it's just that, but Yvonne Conway Williams, and out there, and you can find her at, how can they find you?
Find me on mistressprime.com or anywhere like Instagram and Facebook, official Mistress Prime.
And thank you for being on with us. And this has been another Journey to the Parliament. Keep watching as we're going to continue to talk about us until we arrive at the Parliament. And thank you, and blessed be.
Blessed be.